go ahead and talk about that in the first segment. Last night's football game, injuries have been a plague.
Yeah, that was hard.
Good morning and welcome to the Hodgeback Sports Life and everything in between. We're glad that you're with us this morning. We are brought to you by Lytle Land and Cattle, where you can get a Hodgeback over the weekend, today at lunch, anytime. Our guest appeared on the Pest Control phone line, and Hodge, Josh are here. Misty's on her way. Josh, big night in Abilene, Texas last night as we had uh, Abilene Chamber of Commerce big celebration last night. People giving some awards, and you were part of that a little bit with your contribution to JA as the nonprofit of the year. I asked Misty where she was. She did not know. I told her to storm the stage, so we'll get that.
Oh yeah, just missed her opportunity.
She's still very involved with JA, right?
Dang, no. Okay.
That's
Actually, she is. I'm downplaying it. She very much so.
well, so again, everybody was dressed to the nines last night. I don't know what that means when they say dressed to the nines. A lot of people last night, so congratulations to those that won something last night. Again, big night in Abilene. Of course, last night also was the first night of the Potosi Fest. Again, as we hang out here above, uh, here in the Potosi Live Studio, Shane Smith and the Saints tonight, Randy Rogers, and tomorrow night, Brett Michaels playing all the Poison hits tomorrow night as well. So, Potosi Fest, if you've not got your ticket yet, so I'm sure there's still some possibly available. If you're fortunate enough, get online at PotosiLive.com or head over to Stubwire and get your tickets for Potosi Fest. 3 days. I'm going to tell him a shout out, and I don't know if he's up yet because he works real hard. Moy, Stephanie, Chris, Donovan, some of the hardest working people. You know, that's a lot
They do work. They work very hard.
to get ready for the weekend. So, anyway, um, they've got that going on. A lot of stuff this weekend, Josh. It's big football Friday. Of course, the Anson Tigers kick off district tonight. They'll be going to Holly. You can catch that on 106.9, the Country Giants tonight. Anson and Holly. Holly battling a little bit, not used to losing multiple games. Of course, they've lost to really good teams in Gymnet and Albany. But district play starts off when you've got such a bigger district. You have to start a little earlier, and Holly and Anson start tonight. And then you can catch Steve on the call tonight for the Anson Tigers. But Josh, everything's rolling along. Big weekend. Wiley homecoming, which you're an alum of, and Merkel homecoming this weekend, which I am. I'm repping. Thank you, Coach Kate's got the Merkel Badger
Very
hat
nice
on.
looking hat. Yeah.
Got the Merkel Badger hat on, and also Sweetwater homecoming this weekend, which is fitting because we're going to have at 8 o'clock. We've got our Big Country Electric My Town segment. We'll have Coach Russell Lucas, Sweetwater head football coach, will join us. He's a Merkel Badger. And so when you get into coaching, you do not make a lot of your own homecomings because you're busy
Probably
on
not.
Friday nights. And so Coach Lucas will join us at 8 o'clock. They're in the middle of team meetings and team breakfast this morning at 7. And so he'll join us at 8 o'clock to talk about as they get ready. The Mustangs are 4-0 and will take on and welcome a very tough Clyde Bulldog team tonight in the Mustang Bowl for homecoming. And so our guest picker is going to be a very familiar face. You hear the Pest Control phone line in the second hour. We will have our picks. And Mayor Weldon Hurt, last year he was running for mayor as a guest picker. This year he is the man in charge.
Yeah, I talked to him last night about it. He ran into him. He said that he was ready to be on the show. And I said, "Are you prepared? You made your picks yet?" And he said, "What are we picking?" So apparently he was really working hard at it.
Well, when you're as busy as Weldon Hurt is not running, but helping
Facilitates.
facilitate the city of Abilene, there's a lot going on. So hopefully he will have those. And really, I mean, we've had 3 weeks. Coach Wardis and Greg Austin, again, appreciate Greg filling in last week at the Fairway 500 with Josh and Misty. Greg and Coach Wardis, unfortunately, was not as smart as a fifth grader as Molly beat them last week. Not last week, but Talon Cobb was the first to actually be somebody that was smarter than
Well,
Molly.
and Talon has the single week high score, picking 9 out of 10 correct. So yeah, she Get it out of the park.
And really the only one she missed that a lot of people missed.
Everybody
except
missed
Evan,
it. Yeah, I guess there was one correct pick on
Except
that one.
Evan missed the Texas-Alabama game, and so we'll talk college
Yeah,
football.
A lot of people did miss that.
Yeah, a lot of people missed that one. So keep getting those picks in. You've got time. Josh hadn't made his picks yet. We've
I
not
really
revealed
haven't.
them.
I'm thinking about it right now.
So if
Don't know who to pick in that Vikings Chargers game. That one is
That
really
is-
throwing
that
me a
is-
curveball.
that is a tough one, and a lot of reasons why that's a tough one. We'll talk about that a little bit later as they got themselves a new running back over the week. But so you have time. Get your picks into hodgepacksports.com, or not hodgepacksports@gmail.com. You have time until really about 8:40 to get those in. We'll get them stamped on the email. So if you want to get in a chance to win, I'm getting close on ordering the grand prize. I can't wait to get it. So it's going to be
It's
exciting.
top secret still.
Yes, it is. Actually, we may.
I
Can't tell you.
like how you had a swing thought in mid sentence.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to reveal because we got some exciting news coming up in the next couple of weeks for the station.
so
and
you got to
everything.
be careful what
Yeah.
you say.
Don't want to mess that up. I don't want to ruin the good surprise on you.
Okay.
Not you,
Well,
the listener, but you as into
I know you had to have a surprise plan for me, so thank you.
Yeah, you are
Yeah.
very fortunate.
Yeah.
So anyway, get those picks in. Congratulations to Talon. There are some tough games to pick this weekend. As again, college football is up and rolling. The NFL week 3, and last night week 3, starting our Lawrence Hall Headline Report. Week 3 started off in California with the San Francisco 49ers becoming the newest. We'll talk about that later. Who are really 3-0 teams? There's only one right now. But who are truly the undefeated teams that we believe that they really are worthy of that and that they're going to kind of still be in that situation. Last night, the San Francisco 49ers beat the New York Giants 30-12 in Thursday Night Football. Josh Brock Purdy, 25 for 37, 310 yards, 2 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions. The New York Giants, the injury bug is kind of floating around the NFL as Saquon Barkley is going to be out for 3 weeks. Might be the benefit that they played on a Thursday night to, get that first of the 3 weeks out of the way as Saquon Barkley is out with a high ankle sprain. Kind of preview of are they real or not? Brock Purdy's kind of showing that maybe the San Francisco 49ers were the real deal.
Well, we talked about them in preseason. Purdy was the question mark, having done so well, coming in last year. Could they sustain that? And they do look good. I know that they're a good team, and now they're 3-0. But I don't know that I would be just too terribly excited over the
Being the Saquon Barkley less Giants.
Yes, the Giants kind of had some offseason hubbub. They made a kind of a run last year. Were better than expected, so people kind of were expecting them to be better. I don't think they're very good. And then you take out their most dynamic player, and just kind of sets them back a little bit more. And that game last night, I was not able to watch it. I just kind of check the score every so often. It didn't really seem like. Didn't seem like a whole lot of excitement.
Well, and early on, it was kind of. I know.
I think it was 12 or
Yeah, it's like
14-3 or something.
Three to 3 early,
Yeah.
and then the Giants could not stop. And here's the other thing: give props to the 49ers. They did it without Brandon Aiyuk.
Right.
He didn't play last night, but again, Christian McCaffrey had a big night, 85 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. Deebo Samuel, so they're very loaded on the offensive
And
side.
they are.
So the San Francisco 49ers move on. Other NFL news, headline report, Cam Akers traded to the Vikings, which honestly I'm surprised. Nothing against Madison that they didn't really add any kind of running back help when Dalvin Cook left to go to the Jets. And so Cam Akers is now a Minnesota Vikings. So maybe that'll help some of you guys with the football because they're going to have to do the ball too. Akers to be successful in Minnesota. We'll pick that game a little bit later, the Vikings and the Chargers. Other news, Josh, heartbreaking news for the Dallas Cowboys. We are, I think, a very legit 2-0 team. A lot of power rankings on different networks have the Cowboys right up there 1 and 2 as far as power rankings in the NFL. But yesterday, the injury bug we mentioned earlier, you've got Eckler out, Dobbins obviously out for the year, along with Aaron Rodgers. Saquon Barkley get hurt this last week. And yesterday, Trayvon Diggs tears his ACL in practice and will be done for the year. Josh, We know the impact player that he is. Is he Micah Parsons impactful? Probably not, but very impactful. People like we're throwing in the towel. I think the Cowboys are still good enough not to replace, but still very good enough to be successful. But definitely heartbreaking news yesterday for Cowboys fans and Trayvon Diggs.
It really was. It's one of those things when I first saw that come across, it was I not that I mean this it's worse than just like, oh, your baseball team lost a game or whatever, because it impacts the rest of the year. But I went into yesterday thinking I could not have any sports sadness, and so I think I jinxed it because the Rangers weren't playing, the Astros weren't playing, the Mariners weren't playing, so I didn't have to worry about any of.
You had one random NFL game that you probably didn't have.
I didn't really
you didn't
care.
have any vested interest in.
And so anyway, I truly did wake up yesterday morning and think, hey, I don't have to worry about any sports today. And then I see on Twitter that had happened. I guess I was informed via text message that he was injured, and they feared that. And then I went on Twitter, and it was confirmed that he was out for the season.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, when Zach Sides, again, we hung out with him last night, sent the text yesterday and said Diggs out for the year, my first thought was Stephon and he was fantasy football team was shot. I didn't register that.
No, he's on my fantasy football team.
I didn't register that he was talking about our lockdown corner in Trayvon Diggs. So Trayvon Diggs out for the year, and so unfortunately hurt. The other news this past week was the gruesome injury of Nick Chubb. I didn't write him down, but Nick Chubb, did you see that?
Yes, I did.
Again, all the talk, we've talked about it over the past few weeks. Running backs, the nature of that position is that Nick Chubb has made good living, but he's not made quarterback money. He's not made offensive tackle money. He's not made Justin Jefferson money. And so Nick Chubb, gruesome injury, unfortunately, is out for the year for the Cleveland Browns. When we come back, Josh mentioned it. The Texas Rangers, they're rolling. There are only 10 games left, and the next 10 games are going to be crucial because the Rangers, Seattle, they're playing here. They're playing in Starbucks World. They've got a big 10 games over the next week and a half, and so we'll talk about that. The First Bank and Trust Texas Ranger Report. But again, that is our Lawrence Hall Headline Report. We appreciate Lawrence Hall and all that they do. Gary Grubbs, thank you so much for giving back to the community. Praying for you in all the Beltways. You'll have your boot camp this week. Hope it goes fantastic for you. When we come back, we'll talk to Texas Rangers. The next 10 games, crucial, whether or not sports sadness starts or we have games happening all over at AT&T and the ballpark. We'll be back.
Okay.
So if it ended today, would the Rangers in Seattle have to play, or is there a tiebreaker?
Tiebreaker based on head-to-head. The Rangers have the tiebreaker currently, but they play a lot more games together. So. When they went to the expanded playoffs a couple of years ago, they changed it where you don't play like that tiebreaker game the way that they always had before.
Ten games doesn't sound like a lot, but 10 games are very important. A lot of times that's a high school football season, but 10 games is what's left for the Texas Rangers to find a way to get into the playoffs, give us a run. We were talking with somebody last night. I don't remember who it was about the 2012 year. I think it was Wade Baker. Congratulations again to Sam Baker for winning Young Professional of the Year last night at the Abilene Chamber of Commerce banquet. But 10 games are left, Josh, and we are, I think, in the best situation if you got 10 games left. If one of the people that you're trying to fight and play musical chairs with, you get them for 7 of those, it's a pretty big deal.
No, very, very much so, because well, first of all, I'm trying to finish chewing my burrito, which was graciously provided to us by Mira Cheeto, the official breakfast burrito of the Hodgeback. So I apologize for chewing on air, but that's what you get, because I was a little late getting here this morning, which is not really that unusual. But all that to say, yes, 10 games left. 7 of them are against the Mariners. The way that this all shakes out, two of the American League West teams will make the playoffs. One will win the division, and one will be a wild card team. The Blue Jays are also in the mix. There could be a possibility for 3 American League West teams. I mean, it just the way that it goes. But right now, the Mariners and the Rangers are tied for second in the division and for the 3rd wild card spot. With Toronto is also, I believe, tied with them. So I guess it's actually for the 2nd and 3rd wild card spot. They're all tied. And the Astros are a half a game ahead of the Rangers. So they're all right there in the mix. It could go any direction. You think about it, this late in the season, 10 games left, and I believe the Astros have 9 games left, because I think they have one more day off next week. The Astros could go from being in first place in the division to not even making the playoffs. Just with just a bad homestand, but a bad few games. So it's if you're a baseball fan, you like just the overall tightness of how this has gone. And we're not talking about like the American League Central, which is like which bad team is going to make the playoffs. The Astros, the Rangers, and the Mariners all have legitimate shots at doing something in the playoffs.
You just got to get in.
You got to get in.
Got to get in.
And it's so anyway, 7 games against the Mariners. The Mariners are one of those teams that you have to beat. So it's really kind of in your own.
But how
control.
Crucial is it? Which again, the Rangers have seemed to do this. They go out and sweep the Blue Jays, and then go to Guardian of the Galaxies and don't play well at all. Over these next 10 games, we get Seattle, Los Angeles without Shohei and without anything to play for, which sometimes is dangerous. And then we go back to Seattle to finish it. Seattle they go to Arlington, then they go to Houston, and then they go back home. Dad just texted, how many games do you think the Rangers need to win over these next 10 to make sure they get in?
Well,
I think they need to win all 3 series.
Well, I would agree with that. If they win 1 game against the Mariners, which it'll take more than that, because if the Mariners will be making ground on them if they're beating them. but they'll get the tiebreaker against the Mariners with one win against them. So you kind of have that going in your favor that if they end tied with the Mariners, they will have the tiebreaker. They do not have the tiebreaker with the Astros, and then they do have the tiebreaker against the Blue Jays. So there are 1,000 different scenarios. But if they go 6 of their next 10, they should have a pretty solid chance of making the playoffs. But I wouldn't want to. That would maybe be relying on some help from other people and things like that. So it's really just like time to step up. And as you mentioned, sometimes that letdown. The Rangers have been prone to that this year. That the Angels are terrible. They go to Anaheim for 3 games, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. They have to avoid being losing games there just due to being let down. And you can't expect a sweep. Even bad teams don't get swept. Very often. So yeah, I think you're right. If they can show up back in Seattle next week, having gone 4 of 6, 4 and 2 over these next 6 games, I think they'll be in a very good place to lock up a playoff spot.
Well, and we look at the AL West, which they're very important because it enables us to control our own destiny. But the other player in this is Toronto. They're trying to also get into one of those wild card spots. They're not going to get in. Tampa Bay's got that solidified. But they go Tampa Bay, Yankees, Tampa Bay is who they finish the stretch with.
Right. So you could have a situation where if Tampa really just puts it to Toronto, you could limp into the playoffs. I mean, so it's not just.
You have a chance to all 3. You could have all. Would that work? Because you're going to be canceling each other out.
Right, and I think the intrigue is just really, it's super entertaining because like you said, Seattle does go to Houston. Who do you want to win those games? If you're a Rangers fan, I would say you would want to hold serve against Seattle yourself, have Seattle beat Houston, and then you could pass Houston. Right. But at the same time, if Houston just went ahead and pounded Seattle 3 times, you would have an easier job of passing Seattle. So, it's just like, I don't know, it's really crazy.
Well, but I think we're in position, and again, Billy on Facebook Live says he agrees with us. Rangers need to win each of the series.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, you want a New York Giants this thing. You just got to find a way to get in. Get in healthy. Josh Young is back. He's kind of doing some really good things for us.
Looking good.
So you're starting to get, honestly, I think, I was listening to the ticket this week about how has he done enough to become Rookie of the Year? Even though he was on the shelf
Gunnar
for a little
Henderson
bit.
passed him while he was out. I think that'll be tough. But I think he's done enough.
He's going to probably finish second. If he doesn't win, he's going to finish second. So what you've got to do is it's just like March Madness. It's just like the NFL playoffs where you see the Giants win one of their Super Bowls. We've got to just find a way to get in. Yeah. If you get in, then get a little healthy. Yes, you hate having Scherzer out.
But Scherzer did throw yesterday. Just side note, I read that.
That's huge.
Like, I don't know what that means or how he feels after he threw, but he did throw, just warm up tosses. So, but to that point, you talked about the Giants getting hot at the right time and obviously making a run. Baseball and football, that hot team that comes into the playoffs is the last team in. The Phillies did it last year, and baseball made it all the way through the World Series. Basketball usually doesn't happen, although last year for the first time, an 8 seed did make it to the finals and did not win the finals. But there's something to be said about playing hot at the right time.
Well, baseball gives you the luxury that you don't have to win 10 in a row.
Right.
You don't need to win 10 in a row to get in. In football, you may have to win every single game and get some help to get in. In this situation, if you win 2 out of 3 over the weekend, then you take 2 out of 3 or whatever, you can find a way to do enough.
Well, then if you split on that last 4 games, you're 6-4 and you make the playoffs most likely.
Right.
Unless Seattle swept Houston when they went to.
And it's not like Houston is world beaters. They're good. They've got a solid lineup, but they're not like they're world beaters. And that's what's so great. And I always bring everything back to March Madness. But I really do think this is a year outside the Braves. The Braves are loaded. But in the American League, anybody that makes the playoffs could represent them. And I know that's like no duh, Hodge, because they're in. But there are people that get in the NBA playoffs. We didn't know what Miami was going to do, but we knew the Bulls, we knew the Knicks, we knew some of those people were not going to make it to the finals. In the Major League Baseball playoffs, it is wide open on who can represent the AL in the World Series.
And the thing that people will talk about all the pitching injuries, and I've seen several things, tweets that people have done out, heard idiots that say things to me. And sorry if I'm speaking to you, it's not Hodge. Hodge is, not in this situation at least, not the idiot. But people say like, well, the Rangers pitching, everyone's hurt, like it's not going to matter anyway if they make the playoffs. And I disagree because Garcia and Young being back in that lineup stretches that lineup to where there is not a off at bat in that lineup. With Evan Carter's come up and what he's done, if you think about Evan Carter, and I can baseball nerd all you want, but he's already worth one win over replacement in the short time that he's been up. That's Corey Seager type pace over the season. We talked about that a little bit last week, and he's your 9-hole hitter. So it's like there's that lineup can hit and put pressure on any pitching staff, even a good one. So I don't think that now they got to stay hot and stay on a roll. But I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying like, well, if Scherzer's out and DeGrom's been out for a while and Dunning's kind of come back to earth, so we don't have the pitching to make it. Crazier things have happened. And obviously the opposite could happen if that lineup goes cold. They could be popped out of the playoffs in one series and just go home. But there is an opportunity. They can hit their way to 2 victories. And that last game that they played against Boston with Brian Bayo, that they just pummeled him, and he's one of those young up and coming pitchers that is, he's not a slouch, and so it's not. I don't want to get too homerish. I do want to make the playoffs. I think we're right there on the precipice of it. There is no better place to be. And Bruce Bochy, I heard him talk in the pregame show. Or post-game interview, I guess it was. Just heard the snip talking about this is where you want to be. There's no place better than playing
right.
Like you
meaningful
control your
baseball.
You control your destiny to go in.
It's meaningful baseball where you've got to exert yourself a little bit more. It's like last week in the Fairway 500. You can't simulate that during a fun game with me and you playing Zach and Zay. What the Fairway 500 does, the pressure, the money, all the thing you're playing for, you can't simulate that. Well, in the same thing that what the Rangers are doing right now, they've got to, as Misty says, rise up, level up, and be able to play good enough baseball to get into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. The Braves, they could send everybody on vacation, go to the Bahamas. We're going to bring up some AAA guys. We'll bring up the JV to finish out the year because they're hot. I know you don't do that because you want them to relax and all those things and stay good and stay well and all that. So, the next 10 games are exciting. The next 10 games, you are going tomorrow.
We are. Yeah.
So Josh will be there. Hopefully he brings some great Ranger love with the First Bank and Trust Texas Rangers Report. When we come back, college football, what a weekend. Deion found a way to escape. Still a 20-point underdog. Loses one of his players for a couple of weeks. Class act, Deion, college football. It's exciting. Big 12 rolling. We'll be back for more Hodgepodge Sports Live. Everything. Hello.
Hi. Is the camera on today?
You need to figure out where you want that.
That was the funniest thing. Oh my gosh.
Well, this camera wasn't working last week. So I ended up moving that to me and Josh. And I moved this camera to you. And
Well, and I guess I was just thinking that camera since it was right there. So yeah, that was a hot mess express. But it was funny. I was going to town on that burrito.
listeners were happy.
Well, I was like, oh my gosh. How much more time do we have? What time is that there?
We have 2 commercials.
Okay, perfect.
It's a minute.
That looked really funny. It was like, you.
Welcome back to the Hodgeback Sports Live and everything in between. As you hear Deion Sanders talking about post-game press, actually it's Monday's press conference after his thrilling win over the Colorado State Rams, is the double overtime thriller. The Buffaloes win and stay undefeated as they get ready to head to Oregon. But he was talking about Henry Blackburn, who had a big hit on Travis Hunter, who ended up knocking Hunter out of the game. Hunter's going to be missing a few games because of it. It was just saying that death threats weren't needed. It blows my mind on how serious some of these people take things.
Well, and the same thing has actually happened with the safety that I forget his name that hit Chubb. That people are saying that it was a cheap shot and he's received death threats, and and if you watch the play, it was gruesome. But at the same time, it's just you're out there playing football, and even if you do make a mistake, you get the big hit, you get the you get the penalty. It does cost your team the game. You didn't do it on purpose, like you were just trying to play the game.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
Well, and what's crazy is, again, last week all the talk was Coach Norvell talking about when my mama taught me to take my hat off and sunglasses off when I talk to an adult or whatever. And of course, Deion made a ton of money off of Prime sunglasses just simply because of that statement, like in the millions.
I just have to take
Yeah, I
my
think
hat
it was
off.
like
I don't know if
1.2.
I've ever been told that I need to take my sunglasses off.
Look me in the eye, man.
I have that same pair of sunglasses actually that are purple.
So you said the
So
standard?
basically, I'm a celebrity right now. I
Yeah.
had a first
Yeah,
before
Deion.
Prime.
How does that
Not the
connect?
exact one, the style.
Oh,
of
just
the
but
blenders.
close enough that she's
Yes.
going to ride on that
Of course.
hotel.
They're purple though.
All right.
When we all went to the lake, we all got those purple sunglasses. They're the exact same that he is now. Those are the Prime, I guess, from
Well,
Winners.
he's making a killing
Yeah,
off of
pretty
those
cool.
simply because of that. But college football, big week last week again. Wasn't a whole lot of games, but there was not a show on Saturday. College Game Day was there. Fox's TV was there.
It was
First
full.
Take was there. Literally everybody just invaded Boulder It was almost like the people coming to take the Yellowstone from the Dutton Ranch.
Yeah.
Everybody
awesome.
just came
The
there.
price of the tickets too, like I was seeing some of that stuff, like insane.
What were they? I didn't even see how much the tickets were.
Like they were, again, it was another week in a row. You could have saved money or spent less to go watch any NFL game in the country than you could there.
The tickets that like nosebleed tickets were going for over $300. Just like the amount of hype that was put into that, which
they produced a heck of a game.
It was
amazing.
kind of unexpected.
Well, we were talking
Yeah.
to Sam Baker again. Congratulations, Sam Baker, for winning that. But we were talking to Wade last night, and like somebody asked the question as we were in line to go get food. Are we tired of the Boulder? Are we tired of Dion? Is it getting old? I'm like, and then somebody said, well, it must not be because I stayed up till 1 watching the Colorado State-Colorado game. So either it's like a train wreck and you can't look away, or you're engulfed in this. And what Dion is doing is, I mean, when was the last time we thought about Colorado football? Cordell Stewart?
Yeah, Rashawn Salam.
Yeah.
It's been a hot minute.
And so
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it is kind of have some train wreck to it. I see that, but I'm here for it. I've always been a fan of Dion's, ever since he played for the Cowboys, and even before that when he was with the Falcons, just because he was playing for the Falcons, he was playing for the Braves, he was jet setting all over the place. But play a baseball game, get on a helicopter to go to a football game. I mean, just all of that stuff that truly a handful of people ever have had the talent to be even in that conversation of being able to do that. So it's one of those. Just always been drawn to liking him, and then he has that flash that for a lot of people that turns me off, but with him it's I'm kind of enamored by it. It's just the way he goes about it.
And right now he's producing.
Well, and
so,
he is.
There will come a day when that doesn't take place and then things may shift. But the bottom line is people love drama, especially when it's not their drama. And he is bringing all of the drama.
But the drama that he's bringing,
I love it.
Is more people are making it drama instead of a guy just being successful.
Right, exactly. There's no reason for it.
And you've got
people are saying he's ruining college football. I mean, they're
right.
like not respecting the game.
and which
all
I don't
these
understand.
things that they say.
And I don't understand that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's totally wrong. He is coaching in the best prime area, pardon the pun. NIL's available, transfer portal's available. Would he be successful if he was coaching in 2006 when you had to just go recruit? I don't know.
Maybe not.
But here's the deal. When Deion Sanders comes into your living room or Hugh Freeze comes into your living room, people don't know who Coach Freeze is because Blindside hadn't been come out yet. They knew who Deion Sanders was.
Yeah.
And so when Deion Sanders can come into your living room and display a Super Bowl ring or display, hey, man, let's call Troy Aikman. Let's see what he has to say. It's a whole nother game. And we'll pick games later, but now we're going to see.
Oh, yeah. This is
the first true test where you're going on the road, you're playing a conference.
TCU was on the road, but this.
But we didn't know what TCU was going to be. We assumed they would still be good.
Right.
But we know Oregon's pretty good. We know Oregon's got tradition. It's hard to win in Eugene. So you got to go find that out. So the next 2 weeks, and I'm going to tell you right now, networks.
Oh, it's going to be crazy.
Networks want him to win. They want the Buffaloes to win this week. A, to stay undefeated, but B, Lincoln Riley and the Trojans come to town next week.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but as we start looking at that, of course, the other thing, Mel Tucker going to be fired at Michigan State officially. But we start looking at it now. We've got the Big 12 really ramping up. You've got Texas and Baylor playing this week, and Texas really did a good job, in my opinion, even though it was only 31-10. Made sure, hey, Wyoming, I know what you did to Tech. You're not doing that here.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's finally going to start playing some people. They go to Cincinnati. Ironically, you've got a new Big 12 team playing the team that's going to go on vacation at the end of the year. And so right now, college football is really fun. Florida State and Clemson this week. Clemson needs this. Dabo Swinney, I think, needs this week. I think Aranda. What do you think? And I appreciate you wearing green today on that side of the table. Great job. Um, where do you think the seat is on Aranda? Is the heat warmers on, or do people understand he's a great guy, loves the Lord, and it's just a tough place to play, or just a conference that's tough?
Well, I mean, I don't know. At this point, I would say it's not like the seats warm, but there's a lot of season left. They can't let the wheels completely come off.
Well, they
you
get Texas at home.
right, and this game, Texas coming off of their Alabama win. There's a possibility that you catch Texas on a little bit of a hangover from that. I'm not predicting that, but I don't think this in any way, shape, or form you are basing your season at Baylor on if they beat Texas tomorrow or not. But they put themselves behind the eight ball a little bit by losing to Texas State. But then Utah, they played a close game. Really, just it was a game that Baylor should have won, didn't win. Bad call at the end. But there's other opportunities there. So that kind of righted the ship a little bit. But it will be playing out the string, against like your Oklahoma States, your Texas Techs. Like if the wheels fall off through and they don't end up bowl eligible, then you can start talking about.
Well, and the other thing is apparently there's a lot of disgruntled players at Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody read where they may all walk out after this weekend. A lot of issues at Oklahoma State. And yeah, like entering the portal, we're leaving, high and all those things. Texas Tech, they go to West Virginia, and I think they played Oregon tough, probably had chances to win that game. Now they go to West Virginia, and I think Coach McGuire, I don't think the seat's hot or anything like that, but you're spending a lot of money. One of the top NFL practice facilities in the country are going to be in Lubbock, Texas. I'm just curious, what does Tech need to do? Because the Big 12, no offense, SEC, and yes, you have Alabama, and yes, you have Georgia, and I put in the notes, does Alabama has a hard time picking which club, like going to the club golf bag, and we can't find a quarterback after having Heisman, Mac Jones. But this year's college football season, there are so many good teams. Yes, Georgia's still the top dog, but I'm not saying it's like the AL baseball playoffs. There's a lot of good teams battling for only 4 spots, and I just don't know what Tech's going to do for the rest of this year.
They better get with the program. I don't know. I'm a little nervous. I'm just, especially the Wyoming game.
Well,
they just don't look good enough.
And similar to
West
Baylor,
Virginia's a tough place to go.
Right.
It is. And West Virginia is not. They're not as tough as they usually are. So I'm thinking that Tech will win that game. But
They should,
but Tech and Baylor
They
both
also
set
should have
themselves.
won
You put
Wyoming.
yourself
Right,
behind the
there's
8 ball
Wyoming.
by losing one of your cupcake games. Those games are the ones that are supposed to help you make sure you make a bowl. And then you gotta find another win somewhere else if you're in that
Right.
kind of bubble.
Well, and I talked to, and we're getting close.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned.
We're getting close to open up Misty's bag, but I was talking to a guy last night because Tech and Tarleton played each other last week, and I just asked him. This guy's heavily involved in Tech and has great ties to Stephenville and Tarleton. I just said, "Do you think these money games are going to go away?" And he said no. He said these coaches love it. For example, last week, Tarleton probably had some kids. When Noe come to town, it's a recruiting trip.
Mm-hmm.
No,
with the transfer portal, if you come to Lubbock and we beat you 41 or whatever, but if you got a kid that gains 70 yards on the ground or has a good showing in that setting, you start wondering, I bet that guy would come to Lubbock.
Yep.
We didn't recruit him, we missed out on him, but I bet that guy would come to Lubbock. So college football, we got picks coming later on with Weldon Hurd. Don't get it at 8 o'clock. We will have Coach Russell Lucas, head coach of the Sweetwater Mustangs. When we come back, we're going to open up Misty's bag and see what we got in store. We'll be back right after
So we need to go into the green room.
Check out PotosiLive.com or go live on Potosi Live on Facebook for upcoming live music and ticketed events. Head out to at ForestSaltAirPlaneOnline.com. The Netherlands best new car dealer for 28 years. Now you want customers. Connections. That's what your Touchstone Energy Cooperative makes possible every day. By providing the energy our community needs to stay connected to work, to family, to everyone and everything that matters. Day and night, we're always here. Because we know that of all the connections we make, none are more powerful than the human connections.
So, but yeah, I totally agree. Leaning over, okay, this chair, let's see.
That's not Hodge. I don't know who it is.
Because of Eddie.
It's the shirt here combo.
Welcome back to the Hodgeback Sports Live and everything in between. Rocking and rolling here in hour number one. We'll be moving into hour number two shortly. Again, with Coach Russell Lucas at the top of the 8 o'clock hour with our Big Country Electric My Town segment. Last night, we were all together at the Chamber Banquet. It was good. We got a new picture of our annual
Fancy pants night.
Yeah, I was about to say, our formal night at the cruise was last night.
Hodge put a jacket on. Gotta take a picture.
Yeah, y'all both, everybody.
I was
in
wearing
the
my
cowboy
orange-
hat. It was
I had my
great.
orange shirt of it. I really thought of Wesley last night because
Yeah.
last night, that was very, like, Wesley would have been totally decked out in some type of outfit.
Oh, very bright, yeah.
But anyway, so congratulations to those that won. Very good. All the things. And somebody said, one of our people were talking about that there's 3, really, go with the boys maybe, but there's 2 proms in adult proms
Dancing with the Stars.
in the Chamber Banquet. You have no idea what's going to be wearing. You don't know. Like when we have folks from the co-op that are going to go, they're like, what do I wear? So, well, it's cocktail attire, but there'll be everything. The
Yeah.
fact, the only thing that might not have been there was golf shorts, but everything else was there. We had jeans, jacket, suit,
Yep.
cowboy hat, sparkling dresses,
Yes.
all the things. So, anyway, congratulations again, Chamber 2023 winners. But now it's time for the Great Amazing Mulligans.
Great, amazing. That's It's their tagline from now on.
Yes, they are great
Yeah,
amazing.
great
We love
amazing.
Mulligan's Sports Bar and Grill and Golf. And if you haven't been there, you need to get there. They have all the fun. All the fun. Like they're doing the karaoke, Jindo, like all the live music. Literally, go to Mulligan's. You will not be disappointed. They have all the good stuff going on
Great,
there.
amazing.
Pretty amazing.
Great. Amazing.
Great, amazing. Okay, guys. What Yes.
Snickered before she even said
I
anything.
know you did. What is the most useless thing you still have memorized?
Oh, there's so much. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, probably one of the biggest things that and we were talking about this last night. I know Jara Lovelace, that's not her name now, she's married, but Jacob. But I don't think it's useless, memorized wise. I don't know. I don't have any speeches or anything like that. No,
Then that's the Gideon's Burger dress.
nope, negative. Is that what we great for your country or what you put?
No, that's
I know. I
different
know
speech.
that's okay, but president. Never mind. There's a lot of connections.
One
to those.
small step for mankind.
Well-
History's not my subject.
Well, ironically, both those presidents have something in common. But
You're right about
true
that.
story. But for whatever reason, and if you'll tell me yours, I will remember it.
If you show me yours, I'll start.
No,
laughing. I was like,
no,
what?
No, but birthdays and
Okay.
dates. For whatever reason, God gave me the ability to remember dates and birthdays. Like last night, Jake were talking about how we did our wedding, and I said, and Jared looked at me.
You weirdo.
How do you remember that?
No.
But birthdays, random people's birthdays. Like last night, Glenn Dunn, August 11th. Just random birthdays. I can remember them for all
When
the
are our
time.
birthdays?
Tell me and I won't forget.
That's the,
Oh,
Yeah.
he
But
doesn't know
he
mine,
doesn't
but
know.
he knows their.
Yours is
Ciara's.
March 16th.
Oh my gosh!
Shut your mouth.
Wow, I stand corrected.
Yours is in April.
April something.
2nd.
April 2nd. He's right.
Boom. Shots fired.
Okay, wow, I am very impressed. And
So,
that doesn't normally happen.
I have the ability to know no one's birthday. No one's. I mean, like I sometimes struggle to remember. Like I've got my wife's memorized pretty well, but then sometimes
That's good.
I've swapped numbers with
She's,
with my kids.
we just
because,
had it August something, right?
Yeah, August 17th.
Good job, Josh.
Because
We know
my
the
boys
answer.
were born on
June something.
6/21/18, and Molly was 12/18/12. So sometimes the 18 messes me up, and then I put the wrong. So, but anyway, I've got it down.
Watch,
Yeah, right.
I am like thoroughly impressed right now.
Yeah.
I thought there's no way you knew my birthday.
Yeah, March 16th.
I mean, it is. If
You
you're
kind
a
of put him on the
believer,
spot, and then he like stepped up and like
He
hit
did,
it out of
and-
the park.
he kind of
Texas Rangers, we need you to step up like I
Yeah.
did birthdays.
He just like kind of primed me. I feel like attacked right now.
Feel free to buy my shades.
Yeah.
I was just picturing what your shades would look like if you're going to have some signature with shades. I'll
Oh
work
my
on that.
gosh, yes.
I will work on that next week.
I wonder if I have mine in my purse.
Knock
I'll look.
around.
Oh.
Knock around sunglasses. We'll reach out to them this week too. So Josh, what do you remember?
Well, I don't. The most useless thing I remember is about 72 phone numbers from pre-cell phone days. I had, you didn't have a cell phone. You had to call people's home phone. You went to wherever you picked
You
up the
didn't
phone
have
and
a
you
caller
dialed.
ID to just hit a name.
Yeah, you dialed the number. So I still remember several phone numbers of people that I went to high school with. I remember my grandparents' phone number, and they have not been with us for a decade. And even longer than that they moved to a home and didn't have the phone number anymore. So I mean, it's just random phone numbers because you used to have to remember phone numbers, which I always think is funny now. There are a lot of people, that like say you drop your phone, it's broken, you need to like
Call somebody.
call somebody, and they know no one's phone number.
I know like one.
Like
Like I can call Clay. And
I know
in
my-
bank phone.
I
but
know
that's
my
about it.
wife's. I know mom's. That's about it.
I don't know my own phone number.
Like
My
if I
office
got
is-
locked up
Uh,
and went to the clean, like will they let me see my cell phone
oh
to
no,
get a
no,
number?
you're just gonna stay there.
See, I would literally never get out. Like I could call Clay and hopefully
They'd let
he
you out.
answered.
They would let you out eventually.
I mean, yeah, but I would have to sit there.
How bad would it be? What number? I'm just going to call 911. What's the emergency? I need.
I don't
somebody's
know
phone.
if-
Can
phone
you
number.
please tell
But
me?
I'm the
this
same
phone
way.
number?
I'm the same way about phone numbers. Brian Hunt's 928-4128. It does not exist anymore. Lene
I'm all-
Baker's 928-5888 doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it's just those things that were so useful, and now you become stupid when you try to drive anywhere because you plug it in and go. Used to, you just knew
Oh yeah, you
that's
don't
how
even,
you go.
you don't even know.
Yeah.
Like
So
what exit do you take? I don't know. But and one thing that I do remember a lot of random things that has come back around to be very useful. This probably won't surprise y'all, but I was almost Rain Man when it came to like baseball cards. I would look at the baseball cards and memorize random things or just remember random things. And now I play Immaculate Grid every day, which is a baseball reference game where you have to connect the what's the categories on the grid. And so now I'm very good at that game because I can remember a lot of random stuff from the late 80s and early 90s. So
I'm impressed.
I can't
don't
remember anything about science, but I can remember a lot of baseball stuff.
So what's yours before we bring up Coach Lucas?
I think 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians in Spanish.
Oh,
And the Spanish and the alphabet in Spanish. Like I don't ever sing it unless I'm proving someone wrong that I can do it.
How often do you get challenged with this?
So actually, when it comes up, it's kind of like how you just primed me. That's what we're gonna start calling it. When I doubted you, and then boom, here you come. But yeah, like our Spanish teacher growing up, Miss Sanchez, so great. But we learned things to songs. Like
right,
we
right.
had to memorize the Spanish, our alphabet, and go sing it to her. And if you got it right, then you got 100. So obviously I nailed it
Ah,
and got 100. But and then 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians was the other, and I still know it. And I'm like, why do I still know this? It's so dumb.
Before we go to break, we need.
Do y'all need the Indians?
Yes.
Okay. Uno, dos, and tres cerditos, cuatro, cinco, seis cerditos. And you just keep on
No.
going. And you end it with diez cerditos son.
okay.
Wow, that will be a new hotkey.
You're welcome.
There you go, Mulligans. Great and amazing, Misty's bag. What do you have that
Great.
you memorize?
Amazing.
Great, amazing.
Great, amazing.
What is great and amazing is what the turnaround the Sweetwater Mustangs have accomplished and are doing right now under Coach Lucas. And when we come back, we will have our Big Country Electric My Town segment with Coach Russell Lucas. Homecoming, coming to the Mustang Bowl with Glad Bulldogs. We'll be back right after this.
Your laptop, TV, mobile phone, or devices. You might say your Touchstone Energy Cooperative is in the business.
Coach, can you hear me? All right. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We got some commercials and we'll be back and ready to roll. So, how was team breakfast? Do y'all have team meeting, breakfast, all the things, or what do y'all do on Friday? Oh, nice. Well, it's funny how that stuff, since the UIL realized, hey, feed your kids, take care of them. Used to, you couldn't feed them. I remember we'd go to Pug and Leo's back in the day with Coach Flowers, but Kids had to pay $1. You had to pay $1. You had to do something, so it wasn't given to you. And now the team breakfast and team meals are the closest thing they get to NIL, I guess. And so, but I remember I think it was Shallow Water that got in trouble and had to forfeit games because they had a meal at their concession stand or something. They just, I agree. I'm glad they finally realized that that's okay. Right. And so, anyway, well, I thought we'll talk a little bit of Merkel time just because both of them have homecoming this week. Maybe coaches that inspired you to get into what you're doing, and then talk about maybe what has been the biggest difference in this year. What is this year 3 or 4 or 5 for you there? 3. What I mean, we're off the air right now, but what do you think has been the biggest change in, I mean, what you are doing now as opposed to maybe years past? That's cool. That's good stuff. We got one more commercial. We're back. And I'm sure consistency of coaches and coaching staff has probably been huge. Welcome back to the Hodgeback Sports Live and everything in between. It is time for our Big Country Electric My Town segment as we move into our 8 o'clock hour, brought to you by Coleman County State Bank. Check them out at colemanbank.com for all your banking needs. Check them out. But it's time for our Big Country Electric My Town segment, which is brought to you by Big Country Electric Cooperative. We highlight a local player coach program. And today, proud to, I guess, always still a colleague, even though I don't coach anymore, but a guy I've looked up to for a long time as a former Little Badger. But joining us on our Pest Patrol phone line is head coach for the Sweetwater Mustangs, Russell Lucas. Coach, I appreciate you taking time this morning to join us on the show. Well, so it is. It's football season, rock and roll in year 3. We're going to talk about the Mustangs and what you've got going there in Sweetwater. But I want to take a moment. We joked when I saw you at the Sweetwater Chamber Banquet that it's homecoming at Merkel, where we both grew up. When you coach, you don't make a whole lot of homecomings because you're either playing or you're either coaching, scouting, or something. So just talk about growing up in Merkel. You've been a Yellowhammer, you've been a Lion, you've been a Pied Piper, now a Mustang, but always a Merkel Badger. Talk about maybe some coaches that inspired you when you were growing up in Merkel. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Growing up, great memories of Merkel. Of course, my great-grandparents on both sides of my family are buried in Merkel. So my family's been in that area my whole life before I was even thought of. And so that's always, been home for us. Great memory. My parents absolutely love Merkel, Texas. My experience growing up there was awesome. Small town America, riding our bikes all over town, playing baseball and football and all the things that kids do growing up in the 70s and 80s and that in this part of the world. It's just a tremendous, we weren't very good athletically when I was in high school. I mean, at that time, Merkel was not good in football. I think I played varsity football as a freshman, and in 4 years, I think I won 6 or 7 football games in 4 years. And so, my experience as far as wins and losses wasn't great, but I have great, memories of my teammates and some of those men that coached me, inspired me to be a coach that I am. Wanted to be a coach, Coach Smith and Al Mitch and Eddie Lane and Sam Durgan, Don Dutton, who ironic that Coach Dutton was on one of his first coaching jobs in Murphy, and tonight I'm playing Clyde, and his son Danny is the head coach of Clyde. So, there's lots of ties in this area, and it's just really cool.
Well, and you talk about this area. Of course, we saw a lot of teams at Jerry World last year in the 3-2-5 area code winning state championships. But talk about the great group of coaches, not only in the state of Texas. We had both Coach Matt Cates and Will Cates on a couple weeks ago, but just the big country coaches alone on how solid of great guys. We see Coach Hutchison coming back into it. Just the big country alone, how great and fortunate the kids at these schools are getting to play for some of the greatest coaches in the state.
Yeah, of course I'm partial. I grew up out here. Most of my career has been in this part of Texas, and most of the guys that coach out here in this part of the world grew up out here. It's hard for guys that grew up on the coast or in East Texas or places where there's freezing water. They want to move out here where we are, and but the guys that come back out here and work, and especially guys that this is their passion, this is going to be their career. We've got some guys that get into coaching and then move into administration or being on the radio or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
These guys are staying in it for a long time. You got to have some respect for those guys, and there have been some tremendous ones, and there are currently some tremendous coaches in this part of the world.
Well, and we talked about it, how it's a great profession. It's changed a little bit over the years since you've been in it. I know you've been in it a long time. It's changed, but it's still about leading young men, making a difference. Do win and losses come with it? Yes, but hopefully making a difference. And so let's transition from Badger Stadium to the Mustang Bowl and the season that you guys are having right now. Talk a little bit about that change and some of the things that you did over the summer that kind of brought you to this 4-0 state. You're averaging over 50 points a game offensively. So just kind of talk about where you are right now. And again, a very good Clyde team coming in tonight for homecoming.
Yeah. Well, last year was not good, for us. We were 1-9. We struggled all year long. We never had an identity offensively. Just kind of all over the place. The year before, we were 8-4. Had 27 seniors and graduated that group. We just really struggled through last year. I think everybody was miserable. Kids were miserable. The coaches were miserable. And I have a great staff. And so we just put our heads together and said, what are the things we've got to get better at for us to have a chance to be successful? And so we talked about our commitment level. That if we don't get all on the same page, all understanding what the expectation is, it doesn't matter what plays we call, it doesn't matter what off-season we go through. So we spent about 6 weeks going through a commitment curriculum and clearly defining what it means to be committed to our program, whether it be your attendance, what it looks like in practice, what it looks like in the hallways, what it looks like in the classroom, what it looks like during the game, what it looks like when you're away from school. And once we got that clearly defined and everybody knew the expectation, we're all talking the same language, and it felt like everybody, the kids began to buy in and see the process we were trying to go through. And we had some that didn't. We had some guys that just, they felt like that wasn't something they could commit to, and they moved on and did something else. But the kids that we have currently on our team are completely bought in. They don't question anything we do. They work really hard. They love each other. And I think the results are speaking for themselves in the fact that the way our kids are playing right now. We will have a challenge in front of us tonight. Clyde has a really, really good team.
Well, and you mentioned one of the things I heard, starting a freshman at quarterback, or did I get my Adam Schefter news wrong?
He has to do. We got some good guys around him, but he knows football. He's got a lot of talent. He is a freshman, but he's mature beyond his age. I can say that for him, the way he handled himself so far. We're gonna have a lot of fun over the next year with his group.
Well, and the other thing is, we talk about it. We talked in the college football segment earlier about the excitement that we were seeing in Colorado and what Deion's doing. But you're at a place that loves football and a place that's one of the most historic stadiums, and it's got to be exciting for the community. Again, at the Sweetwater Chamber Banquet Club, and I talk about the undefeated teams in Nolan County, but it's got to be exciting being in that community and seeing what you're producing, not only the young men that are doing great jobs in and out of the classroom, on the field, all the things, but being at that special place like Sweetwater and having some success and maybe turning that corner, going back in the right direction.
All right. Well, you're right. Sweetwater does absolutely love their football. Mustang Bowl is one of the finest places to play football in the state of Texas. We get to practice in that bowl every day. I still sometimes can't believe it as I'm walking down those steps to practice every day. But it is exciting. It's exciting in Sweetwater right now. This is the expectation. They have a little bit of patience. They understand football well enough to know that talent does cycle from time to time. But they're not ones to expect that's going to be the trend always. And so I think this is the expectation, and now that that's happening, they're very excited.
Well, again, I know it's a busy day with homecoming and 7-hour halftime and all those things that take place today. But I appreciate you taking the time. Again, I've always thought a lot of you, looked up to you as a kid, and just when I was coaching, and whether I was at Roby or at Rotan or Hamlin, you do things right, Coach. I know you love the Lord, and again, you do things right. Our local Dabo Sweeney is what I'm going to call you. But I appreciate you, and hopefully hit 5-0 tonight. Again, a tough fly team, but they've got to come to you. So I hope you appreciate it, and hope everything keeps rolling, and have you on maybe in the dinner playoff run.
Well, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate you guys for highlighting Texas high school football and the players and coaches, and also thinking to guys that deserve some recognition. Not saying that about me, but I just want you guys on a weekly basis for our sport that we all love and the people that love it.
Again, I appreciate it, Coach. Have a good one, and enjoy the rest of homecoming festivities, and maybe the Mustangs and the Badgers both get a win tonight. All right, that's Coach Russell Lucas, head coach at Sweetwater. Again, homecoming tonight at the Mustang Bowl. Tune into those guys. I got to sit with their radio guys. Tune into them. Go check them out. Fantastic stuff. When we come back, who's real, who's not real in this 2-0 world of the NFL? We'll be back right after.
My name is John Keating. I am a resident at Disability.
Hey, Russell, appreciate it, man. All right, have a good one. We'll see you. Bye.
At our state-of-the-art, safe, and secure facility. We are in the DRI Shredders, and we are here to assist and serve you in the destruction of your most private documents or any of those annoying boxes that have stacked up over the years. Give us a call, 325-232-6918. Come on out and see us at 3602 North Clack Street. We'll be glad you did.
What is it that you love? It's not about the place, but maybe it's home. We understand knowledge can change your life, and at Energy, we continue to power it. And because you're part of the Touchstone Energy Cooperative, we're always listening. Because you're more than just a customer, you're a leader. And what's more powerful than that?
You are the most important part of Big Country Electric Cooperative. Call, stop by our offices in Roby, Snyder, and in Stanford, or visit online at bigcountry.com. Cowboys, football, and yellow light. Yellow pen. Jam Classic tailgates with a very close today. Sunday night overtimes guided by Monday swag. Biscuit and smoke. And the back of the creek. And that was too. Tell the Cowboys great story.
Well, if you get that with your lip, I thought maybe you hurt yourself.
That was so funny. Yeah, he did say, "What's wrong with you? What is this little sweater sit?"
You sit down. You sit down.
Oh my God, I know what it says. You're bad.
Should have hit it better.
How am I gonna ever wear that? I can't.
You can. And you will.
I will at your house.
So did Ryan pre-send y'all pics? Because he's making me go off the arm this time.
Did I not send them to you?
That's why I asked him about it yesterday, and you acted like you had no idea. I just figured you
Here.
didn't care.
I did
You're
mine in
lucky
the
we have
parking
time.
lot. That's why you brought it
I know.
up. And when you did, because
I don't look at y'all's before. And,
I did mine in the parking lot
Hey,
of the
let
chamber
them use
banquet.
the pen.
Do you need this?
No.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
I think I'll know my
Are we
pick.
doing
Or you can
knowing
tell me
South
what
of
I pick.
Battle?
Yes.
Okay, it wasn't on there, but I figured.
Yes, we're gonna do it.
Ah,
We're
okay.
going to.
Great.
Well, let me ask you this: do you want to do knowing it's at the battle next,
you told me.
and then do our NFL going into picks?
That'd probably be good.
We don't have much time left after. Picks takes a while.
But we can talk who's real, not real, because of the picks.
Okay.
All right. So knowing it's at the battle's next.
And what's wrong with your face?
What is wrong with my
And fix
face?
your face. And your mouth, apparently. I didn't notice you were doing anything weird.
Well, but he was like right here in front of me. Oh, come on.
But the way he said it, I was like, wow, that was special.
You ruined it. I mean, nosy.
You did because it was over there where I could see
You're
it.
Hey,
nosy.
It's not her fault you hid the Christmas presents in the living room.
Thank you. Thank you.
I should have moved it farther. Sorry. I hit it
I
from
guess I
behind.
could
Yeah,
have done that.
don't deflect on me.
I circled mine. I didn't see your pics over there.
Okay, sorry.
Just put him on the spot. It's really not fair. I'm gonna
Rude.
have my pen back.
Yeah, that shirt is awesome.
Seen the one that's got all the tigers on it?
I love
I
it.
wore that on the.
Welcome back to the Hodgepodge Sports Life and everything in between. We're rocking and rolling our 8 o'clock hour, brought to you by Coleman County State Bank. Again, check them out at colemanbank.com. Moving on in, give them a shout. About to hit something else. It is. It is
I don't know what.
yeah, but it is time for. All right, Josh, knowing at the battle, you're up.
One thing that I think more and more people are becoming aware of, but you need to keep it top of mind, is the fact that I don't think it's even a conspiracy at this point that I believe your cell phone listens to you when you don't think that it is,
Oh, no doubt.
Absolutely.
and then shapes future things based on conversations that you have had or people that you've been around. So you just need to be aware of this, because there are times, like last night you talked about, we went to the chamber banquet. There are times that I go to an event like that, I meet somebody, shake their hand, and then I get a you might know this person thing on Facebook later, and I'm like, why would my Facebook think that I know that person? It's purely because it's tracking me, so
Big Brother
So-
is watching.
so my I guess advice to everyone is you just have to be careful who you speak to and what your conversations involve. I recently saw a grand example of this. A few weeks ago, when we were talking about our Cowboys preview for what we thought about was coming on for the upcoming season, Misty said that she was really a fan of the Cowboys defense, and that she thought the defense was going to carry them, and it was going to be a part of the team, a main part of the team, I guess. And I agree, and so far it has been good. That's why the loss of Trayvon Diggs is very
Heartbreaking.
concerning,
Yes.
because the defense has definitely stepped up. But during this conversation, Misty said that she was a big fan of the Cowboys defense. Then later, I was reading, actually it was a website, it's MLB Trade Rumors. They always have these little commercials, these banner ads that pop up on the bottom of the phone on that particular app. And most of the time I get stuff that's like for some sort of like Bass Pro Shop or some thing like that that's on
Something
that
you
ad.
could actually use.
Yes. This particular day, I was sitting on my patio at the house, and this ad pops up for a sweatshirt. It's a Dallas Cowboys sweatshirt, and I guess they got me, and that's what you got to be careful of, because I have purchased things because of this. I purchased this directly because they hit me, and it's Misty's fault. So I bought Misty the sweatshirt. I hope that it will fit her. I hate buying clothes for women in general because if it doesn't fit, it's like somehow you thought I was that big, or
Yeah,
or it's too
that
small,
kind
and then
of
it's
little
so
Well,
hopefully
remember
it fits because she does.
we have cameras. So you
She,
can
yes,
show our
we
listeners.
need. Let's see. It says she loves the Dallas Cowboys, but it doesn't say Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
You can see.
It's going to fit. She loves the
The defense.
defense.
The defense
Minus the
fence.
yeah.
There is no fence around
Yeah,
that.
It
so-
is actually so cute, and I will be sporting it this weekend.
Hopefully the weather will start being sweatshirt weather.
It's
and
got to be
accommodate.
getting close.
I think that may be the next team photo. We'll give Josh a look.
I actually love this so much, and if you've been a listener for any stint of time, you know that sometimes I say things, and you know I am who I am, and I do refer to the defense as the D. A lot of people do.
Right.
So
it's not uncommon.
It's not uncommon,
no.
but apparently
But
when I say the D,
That's
it's
why.
the D.
That's why if you were going to a game and you bring the D and the fence,
Yeah.
if you forget the fence,
It's-
that's all
it's
it's
Like
going
I
to be.
just
Yeah.
bring the D, and I'm sorry
Yeah.
about that, but it's just what it is.
Yeah. So you got to be careful what you say on
And yes, you have to.
because it's going to.
this is actually so cute.
Misty
I'm
makes
so excited.
Misty makes the comment about like loving the defense, and then I get a ad on my phone for
I love
exactly that on a sweatshirt, and I was like, I have to buy that.
I love it so much.
I think it came straight from China because it took about 3 weeks to get here after I got the tracking number. So I don't know.
It's gonna fit perfectly. Like it's so cute. Look how
So-
cute that is.
So anyway, I guess that's like I said. You just got to be careful who you hang out with.
So am I a bad
because then-
Not
influence?
who you hang out with. You just got to be. What'd you say?
Am I a bad influence?
Definitely.
Well, you just got to be careful what you say because, like, why can't I say winning lotto numbers and they pop up or something?
I am
I bet you could,
unfiltered.
but I
Okay,
don't know.
I
Maybe,
am who I am.
maybe you should try that.
We'll see what happens.
Ask your phone what to pick for the next lotto.
Make me.
Why has
rich.
nobody done that with that chat TPI or whatever?
I don't know what letters you just said.
That AI thing that you know what I'm talking about?
GPT?
Like artificial intelligence?
Yes, there's
Yes.
that chat whatever that's out there.
Chatbot.
Yeah,
Give me
I
the
don't know that it
lotto
could-
numbers.
I mean, maybe it could.
I mean, there's no doubt. It'd
You found the link in the Matrix, and you can just like run the whole thing now.
be like Back to the Future 2, bet on things that you know are going to happen that's already happened.
Yeah, with the sports almanac.
That's what you can do. All right, there you go. Sports Almanac's going to happen. My mom said you looked like Hoss Cartwright last night at the chamber. I don't know if that's a compliment or
I'm
not.
sorry. We
Dan
were
Walker.
looking so cute last night.
Yeah. Well, a
The
lot of
Three
people.
Stooges can
Yeah.
get fancy every once in a while.
Our celebrity guest picker was in white. Looked really good last night, right?
Yes.
You were in white. We had a lot of colors last night
Mm-hmm.
as we were painting the town or something like that. It's the new song
Yes.
or something.
Painting
Is that the
town.
new?
I don't
Yep.
know.
That's
Painting.
No, we didn't paint it red. That's the saying. Paint the town red. We painted it all the
Yeah,
colors.
there was
All-
all colors.
I loved it.
So anyway, a lot of colors. When we come back, we're going to start rolling into our picks and talking the NFL. Who will go? We'll actually go from the NFL to some picks. Who are really 2-0 people? Are they real? Are they not? Are we basically they're just fortunate on who they played? And really, are the Cowboys a real 2-0 team? We'll talk about that right after this.
I love this so much. Oh my gosh, this is the cutest thing ever.
I didn't get the memo about the bright jacket. I just wore that one last
This
night.
is
Yeah.
so cute. Thank
Well, you always dress.
I
I could have wore a
I am going to
colorful
wear it.
jacket.
Oh, right.
That seriously
But,
popped up, and I was like, "Man,
I
look
told
at
Lauren, I
this."
said, you were in my
She's like,
office
"You gotta
yesterday
get
morning. You didn't tell me there was a thing.
I love y'all.
Yeah, I
That
didn't
is
know.
amazing. No,
Well,
it's happening.
live.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Just remind me about pickles.
Hot size your picks.
Actually, what I'm going to do,
You can just say it because we only picked one different. I didn't even notice that.
Oh, really?
He's going with Dabo, and it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah, that's not
I knew
surprising.
he would.
He always does. He's been riding that train forever.
I'm going to write these down. Hold on.
Yeah. Maybe we can.
I'm still shocked he knows my birthday. Like,
I didn't.
I would have bet money on that.
I didn't even have a clue which month you were born in.
I
So.
know. Well, my birthday is easy to remember if you're a believer because 316. John 3:16, you know.
And actually, now that you say that, I remember it being during spring break that you
Yes.
were doing.
It's always
yeah.
spring break.
If I'd have sat and thought about that, I would have
You
known.
probably
it's
would have
middle of
known the
month.
vicinity
Yeah.
at least. But yeah. That's the easiest way is if you're a believer.
Well, now I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Because you made the-
See, there you go. Good stuff.
It was a weird week. We had the HBA golf tournament on Wednesday. I was in. Monday was busy, and Friday got here quick.
They did. I felt a little unprepared.
I did a very busy week.
Yeah, me too.
I got a really cool hotkey for this too. Welcome back to the Hodgeback Sports Life and everything in between. We are rolling through our 8 o'clock hour. We are moments away from our celebrity guest picker, Mayor Weldon Hurt, trying to see if he can go back-to-back smarter than a fifth grader. Not very many people have done that. Well, they haven't been able to do
I was
that.
about to say, this is the first opportunity. So.
Yes, it is the first opportunity to go back-to-back winners. Unfortunately, Coach Wardis and Greg Austin were not smarter than a fifth grader. Obviously, he's not a fourth grader anymore. And then Talon Cobb did a good job, 9-1. So we'll do our picks a little bit later. Again, our celebrity guest picker will be Mayor Weldon Hurt. Josh, Misty, it's time to look and think about, are they real? Are these 2-0 teams? Now we have a 3-0 team last night. It's the San Francisco 49ers beat the Giants. There are some people that are 0-2. There are some people that are 2-0. And are they who they are? Do we think they are? So we're going to ask that question. We're going to ask that question and find out if this. They're real and they're spectacular. Are they great? Are they amazing? We'll start off. Miami Dolphins. They are 2-0. Looking really good. Again, the main thing is going to be, will Tua stay healthy? Do you think they are a legit 2-0 team and a threat to the Chiefs?
Yes, but they're probably, of the teams that I say yes to, they're the most shaky yes, because of Tua's history, basically. I mean, they looked this good last year. He got hurt, never really got back in sync afterwards. A lot of people said he should retire, so, I mean, I feel like he's maybe playing with borrowed time, possibly. Yeah, just, so question mark.
Question marks. I'm gonna, because of that, I have to say no. They're not a threat to the Chiefs.
I think they are legit. I think they are the team that can. I think they are. I think they're a legit 2-0 team. I think Coach McDaniels is a very legit coach. I think we're seeing that. I think the Chargers would trade coaches in a heartbeat. The next, and this one, I think I'll start with you. The Baltimore Ravens are 2-0. Lamar Jackson doing what they're doing. Odell Beckham Jr. just got hurt. Don't think it's serious, but we know about J.K. Dobbins is out. So running back by committee. Are the Baltimore Ravens a legit 2-0 team?
I'm gonna say no.
Tough credit.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. I'm not really, and I know y'all will probably disagree, but I'm not really on the Ravens train, and so I'm gonna say no.
I say yes, and that's because, and this is also one of those caveats being, Lamar Jackson has not finished the last two seasons. So if that trend continues, then obviously they're not going to do anything. But they do have a receiving core now, even without OBJ.
Zay Flowers has become a legit help.
Yes, Zay Flowers is particularly in Andrews. Obviously, everyone knows he's good. They Lamar Jackson can help with the running game and is part of the running game, so that kind of makes the loss of J.K. Dobbins a little easier for them to get over. So yes, I think so, but Lamar Jackson has to finish the season.
All right, so I want to throw this out to you now. We've done those are the AFC. I do think Baltimore's legit. They're both of those are quarterbacks got to stay healthy. I mean, heck, they even made the playoffs last year with like Hundley, who ended up being a Pro Bowler because everybody got hurt. But now in the AFC, there's a couple of 0-2s. The Patriots, I think they've actually competed well, just come up short in their 0-2. The two that I think are shocking, not the Texans, but the Cincinnati Bengals are 0-2. Are they a legit 0-2? Should we be worried about them?
They will bounce back. I feel that they will bounce back, and so as of right now, I'm not worried about them. I think they're going to bounce back from 0-2.
I agree. I think they will bounce back. They're the biggest surprise. 0-2. The other AFC team that I'm sure you're going to bring up next is the one that I'm more like perplexed by, I guess, being the Chargers.
Yes.
I do think that Cincinnati will kind of ride it out and they'll be okay. I'm not saying that they're necessarily going to show like Super Bowl contention because they just looked really, really bad.
Well, and the Chargers are the next 0-2 team. And the fact that Brandon Staley, they're probably kicking themselves. But again, the other coach that probably would have gone out there would have been Sean Payton, who's also 0-2. But Russell Wilson is playing better.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson is playing better, but you're in that division with the Chiefs. And so I don't know how long. And again, they've got the Vikings coming, playing them this week. Another 0-2 team. Another 0-2 team are the Vikings. We'll get to the NFC in a minute.
See, I think that Houston and Arizona are probably the worst teams in their respective conferences. And so, like, that doesn't surprise me they're 0-2. But the Chargers and the Vikings, and that's why I put this game as one of our games to pick this week. There are two teams that kind of had some hopes to be decent, to be on,
Right.
like,
They've got good
especially the
talent.
Chargers with coaching
Yes.
and everything.
You really thought the Chargers, but again, they've got Austin Eckler that's got injured.
Mhm.
The injury bug, and literally has been going around the NFL. So those are the AFC teams that are 2-0 and 0-2 that I think. So you don't think any of those now, because again, the Chiefs are not 2-0. They lost to the Lions. They beat the Jaguars last week. So do you think who is the biggest threat? Somebody's got to be, because we got to talk about it. Who do you think is the biggest threat to the Chiefs?
Oh, gosh.
Who do you have?
I mean,
the deep throne.
maybe Miami.
I think right now it is Miami.
I mean,
and
Yeah, that's
you know,
probably
like-
what I would have to say too.
and
But they're going to bounce back. The Chiefs are going to bounce back. I'm not worried. This is not even a thing in my opinion.
But I still think that at the end of the year, it's going to be, the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals. I think they're all going to be.
Well,
in the
and
mix.
that's another
You know,
team. They're
like-
not. The Bills are not 2-0.
No,
But they really bounced back and went out
right.
to Vegas.
They
and
had
said, you know what?
they had an awful first game,
Yep.
good second game. I still think they're in the mix, and and same with the Chiefs. That they're 1-1 teams that end of the year probably are going to still have double-digit wins. So
Completely agree.
All right, so moving to the NFC. We'll start with the Cowboys division. Again, we'll actually go. There's only one 3-0 team, an undefeated team in the NFC West. The 49ers,
The 49ers
are legit.
are real
I mean,
deal.
Absolutely.
there is no doubt that
Tampa Bay and New Orleans, I think are flashes in the pan. Atlanta definitely has some
all
room
right,
to,
so we
room to
think
grow.
San Francisco's legit.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
go to that
Oh,
division.
absolutely.
Let's go to the NFC South, the division that we thought whoever got to the false teeth first were going to win that thing. And now you've got 2-0 Tampa Bay, 2-0 Atlanta Falcons, and 2-0 New Orleans Saints. Michael Thomas is looking like the guy that you used to always have on your fantasy football team. Derek Carr's going to be fine. That division, I thought it's going to be very competitive, I think. And Baker Mayfield's getting this resurrected career opportunity with Mike Evans and some pretty good talent. Of those three, who do you think are legit 2-0?
I don't think any of them are legit 2-0. I don't think any of them are really a threat to have the best record in the league if you go 6 weeks from now. I do think New Orleans, I picked them to win that division. I still think they will. Baker Mayfield, obviously, he's a lightning rod, and he's done some good things at times in the NFL. I don't expect that to continue. And Atlanta's just too young. Like Desmond Ritter's looked okay. I think they're maybe going in the right direction, but I don't think they maintain that. But I mean,
But Bijan is showing that he was worth the first round draft pick.
And I said 1,000 times I hope that he had fallen to the Cowboys because I think that he would
Oh
make
my
any
gosh, that
team
would be
better.
amazing.
But
So you still think the Saints win that division?
yes,
Who do you
Yes,
think
I
in that
think
division?
because of Derek Carr. I mean, the other Washington and Atlanta, I don't think they're going to go far. I mean, their quarterbacks are young, and Derek Carr is seasoned, and so for that reason, I think that the Saints will go a lot further.
I
in
actually
that
had
division.
picked the Falcons to win that division. I'll stay with it. I don't think that. I mean, obviously they're a legit 2-0 because they're 2-0, but I don't think they're anywhere where you should be worried about it. So now let's move to the NFC East. You've got nobody in the South, nobody in the North is undefeated. There's a debacle in Chicago. You want to talk about a hot mess? That's Chicago right now with a lot of things. Justin Fields. I mean,
they could lose all their games.
I mean, they're talking about, do we ride this out and hope we get a good quarterback next year? So there's a lot of questions. Defense coordinator's gone. A lot of issues there. So nobody in the NFC North. The NFC East, you've got an undefeated Dallas Cowboy team. We expect it. An undefeated Philadelphia Eagles team. We expect it. I did not see the Washington Commanders being 2-0.
Yeah, that's going to fade. I don't see that lasting much longer. I really don't. I mean, the Cowboys, obviously, Homer, but they are. Everybody is talking about the Dallas Cowboys right now. And a lot of people are saying this is the Super Bowl team for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, it's on every radio show. It's literally everywhere. Every TikTok.
And they normally take over networks anyway, but now they're doing it in a way
It's
because
positive now.
it's 2 games in a row, still no interceptions. We
Yes.
were
Thank you, Dak. We love
we
you
were
for that.
one bad catch away. I mean, from a pick 6. But so now, tell you what, we're going to go to our picks when we come back because we'll pick the Cowboys game a little bit later. So we're going to bring in our celebrity guest picker, Mayor Weldon Herb. We'll be back. We'll do our picks. We'll see how we all line up and see how things are going. Since last time he was running, this time he's in the seat. We'll be back right after this.
Good country. My name is John Key. I am a resident.
I find it really disturbing the AFC. After 2 weeks, there's only 2 undefeated teams.
Right.
That's bad.
We accept drop-offs in our state-of-the-art safe and secure facility. We are in the DRI shredders.
And I'm telling you, Deshaun Watson does not look good. You want to talk about a mistake? $230 million guaranteed to that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just because he's on my fantasy football team, but he is not playing very well at all.
Poor Bryce Harper looks worse than a rookie. Carolina,
Oh, no doubt.
Or
You know, and he doesn't have a whole lot of offensive line. He doesn't have a whole lot of, in my opinion, doesn't have a whole lot of weapons to help him.
I can't believe they've already stuck him in there like that. It's just
Really, I mean, Anthony Richardson from the Colts has looked okay. But C.J. Stroud, no. Bryce Young, no. I just don't think. I mean, I think Jacksonville. I mean, they lost to the Chiefs. The Jacksonville Jaguars were a good team. At least their loss was to.
yeah, I think when you talk about 1-1 teams,
Hang on, let me see. Hello. Hello. Uh-huh.
Who's your
Okay.
second favorite NFL team?
who's my favorite?
I mean, it better be the Cowboys. If not, sir, exit stage
Right.
left.
Okay, I will.
I don't.
You really don't? Really?
What?
Debbie likes the Saints.
I
Debbie's a big Saints fan.
I like the Saints too, but I really liked.
I really only got back into watching the film after 3 years. I got where I hated it.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't even watch it for real.
asked him who his second favorite. He goes, well, "Who's my first?" I said, "It better be the Dallas Cowboys." And he was like, "I don't know." He's all like, "What?"
There's a lot of people that
I guess That's what I get for assuming.
There's
So-
a lot of Cowboy fans that grew up Cowboy fans. When Jerry Jones did what he did to Tom Landry, they shut him
That's
down.
when my dad would have done
Yeah, and I get that.
it.
Roger Staubach, that generation is
It's
so
like
different.
I totally
Molly
get
had Molly has a Micah Parsons jersey. And last Sunday I went up to her and I said, "Man, I love your Danny White jersey."
She's like, this
She
is
goes, "Who's
right.
that?" I said, He's a quarterback in the 70s and 80s. Because you think about it, they don't retire jerseys.
They don't retire numbers, no. They keep on giving them out.
I
I mean,
hope it keeps
but
rolling
I
for
guess
us.
if you're the Cowboys, you'd retire so many, be like the Yankees, where it's like they have no single digits left because they're all retired.
Right?
It's
Yeah,
always just like eventually you just run out.
you have to, yeah.
They Ring of Honor it.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Hodgeback. It's time for our "Oh You Didn't Know" celebrity guest picker. Our celebrity guest picker is known for sure not only in his current position in the city, but again, you hear our Pest Patrol phone line. We had Coach Lucas on it earlier, but the owner of Pest Patrol, but also our mayor, Weldon Hurt, joining us this morning. So, Weldon, appreciate you being here.
It's always fun to be here. It's an honor, and I always enjoy the show. And appreciate y'all keeping it local all the time. And just good to be here.
Well, again, we were all four last night. Big night in Abilene, celebrating
It was.
businesses and people. And so we're fortunate. We say it all the time, not only to live in Texas, but to live in Abilene. We're very fortunate to be here.
You know, I tell people all the time, I live here by choice. I love this city. I live here by choice. I want to live this city.
So real quick, before we start picking, again, last year you were running for mayor. This time you are mayor. How are things in the middle seat in the chamber?
It's a little busy. You know, to being on council for 2 terms for 6 years, you know, I kind of had some expectations, but it is pretty time consuming. Honored to do it, but it is very time consuming.
Well, and again, we're fortunate to not only, like I said, a business owner, helping, I don't know if run the city is the right word, but to do the things that you're doing and understanding that small businesses matter, but also the big businesses that come and make Abilene grow. I think the people that say there's nothing to do here, that's no longer the case. There's always tons of stuff to do here in Abilene. And so we appreciate all, again, not only city council, but now being our mayor.
Appreciate that. And you know, you're right. It's not running the city, but it's making sure you have the right people in place to run the city. Make those decisions for the keep that city growing.
And again, it's growing. And one of the things that was growing, of course, ACU, college football, it's a lot of things going on. Don't forget, again, this is the place for local football, local sports. Tonight, the Anson Tigers will be heading to Holly to take on the state champions as they kick off district tonight at 7 o'clock. And then tomorrow, the Texas A&M Aggies, which is going to be our first pick here in a moment, have the Auburn Tigers coming to Kyle Field. And, of course, Sunday afternoon, the Cowboys. All right here on KLGD. You can listen. So let's dive into them, Josh, Misty, and Weldon, Auburn, and Texas A&M, again, right here on the Country Giant tomorrow. Early kickoff. A&M still kind of finding their way and still really not ever really turning the corner. We talked to Coach Lucas about turning the corner at Sweetwater from their 1-9. Jimbo still hadn't really done it. Who do you have winning this game, Josh?
I've got A&M, but Molly went with Auburn.
All right, Misty, who do you got?
I've got A&M.
About Auburn.
I'm with Auburn. I think they're going to. I think Coach Freeze.
So shocked.
Are you shocked that I went? I normally would pick A&M.
Yeah.
You would. I am shocked too.
I was not actually being facetious. Now, if you had picked against Clemson, I would actually be shocked.
Yeah, that. Speaking of Clemson and Florida State again, Dabo Swinney, rough outing week 1, and so now they've got Florida State coming to Death Valley. Not playing at night. It's an early game, which is always a different atmosphere. So we'll go with you, Misty, first. Who do you got?
I've got Florida State. I have to go against you because I know you're picking Clemson.
Yeah, true story.
Molly picked Clemson, but I told her she was wrong.
So I'm assuming you went with Florida State.
Well, you know, Florida State, they were tested last week, but I'm going to go with Florida State.
Florida State's one of those, are they legit undefeated teams trying to bring back the era, if you will, of the Bobby Bowden. And I mean, I know Jimbo won one too, but when I think of Florida State, I think of Dion, I think of Bobby Bowden, I think of Chris Winkie, I think of Charlie Ward. But I do have the Clemson Tigers winning that one. Clemson looked better last week. It wasn't a very good team. So I've got Clemson. Tech, we mentioned this earlier, are heading to Morgantown and take on the Mountaineers. West Virginia coach trying to find a way to continue his job. But Coach McGuire needing. You didn't get your win against Oregon, which was a big deal that they came to the Jones. You lost to Wyoming. You took care of Tarleton. But heading to West Virginia for a Big 12 matchup. Josh, what do you got?
That's Texas Tech.
Molly?
Same.
Guns up, baby.
Guns up.
Yeah, we all went Tech. I wasn't real confident in it, but we all went Tech. All right, the big one in Oregon. 21-point underdog is Dion, which ironically, I'm sure he's using, hey, I was number 21 underdog. Everybody get your shades on. We're going to shake everybody's hand with our hats on. He's doing things right. Some people don't think he is. I guarantee you there are people outside of Boulder that have bought Colorado Buffalo gear. I'm going with Oregon, though.
I went with Oregon also, but I'll tell you this. Molly picked Colorado, and she is like 100% in with the hype.
So you're going to have – we're both on our phone. She loves the D shirt, and she got that. We're going to have Colorado Buffalo paraphernalia come up on our Facebook feed.
Yes, it will.
We will probably be wearing Colorado Buffalo stuff. Sorry, Dion. Feel free. I know you're listening in Boulder. Feel free to use my bulletin board material that I picked Oregon. Misty, who do you got?
I love the hype, but this is the week that they get dethroned. It's Oregon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm going with Oregon, and I don't think it will be close.
Well, according to Vegas
Vegas
knows,
doesn't think it will be.
Vegas doesn't think it's close. It's going to be a 21-point. I just had something off in my ear. Don't know what just happened. Producer's telling me I made the right choice. But Colorado.
Electric shock. Didn't work on that.
But Travis Hunter, no Travis Hunter.
Yeah, that I think
They're going
changes
to get rocked.
I think that changes the whole dynamic of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Dion, we'll title this for you. Next, Alabama and Ole Miss. Alabama still, they're going back to their quarterback that started week 1. I mentioned it in the notes, going back to the golf bag. All right, which one do I hit the ball with? Who do you have? Who do you miss? Or Molly have?
Alabama.
I've got Bama.
I've got Ole Miss. It really doesn't matter which quarterback Alabama goes to. They're not playing well with either of them.
No, you're right about
You're
that.
right.
And I'm going to go with what Weldon said. I'm going to say to you two, not so fast in honor of Lee Corso's 400th head game gear last week. Not so fast. I've got Ole Miss too. I think Lane Kiffin, and it's frustrating. It's almost like it's like when you start watching a athlete not be good anymore. Are we starting to see that in Alabama? Are we starting to see the fading of away?
Well, I think we are,
of
but
Nick Saban.
it's still they're still a good team though. I mean, not the best that they've ever had, but I don't expect them to just lose out.
Well, I just expect them to lose Saturday.
Okay.
All right, so
And every
college,
game after that.
yeah, true story. College game day is going to be in Notre Dame, South Bend. Yes, I was trying to think. I almost said Ann Arbor, but Notre Dame, Ohio State this week. Who do you two have?
We both have Ohio State, but this was one of those games that I tried this week to pick games that were very difficult to like. I wasn't really sure which way they were going to go. Ohio State is the favorite according to Vegas, but it's 3-point favorite on the road. I mean, I would not be surprised at any outcome of this game.
Yeah, I totally agree, but I did go with Ohio State.
I'm going Notre Dame simply because they're at home.
Yeah, I'm going Notre Dame as well. Marcus Freeman has things going really well. Young coach, was the defensive coordinator, now running the show. And Ryan Day's another one. He kind of reminds me of the Buffalo Bills. Hasn't really turned the corner with Ohio State. And so I've got Notre Dame. Our final college game is the Baylor-UT game. Baylor played really well, had Utah on the ropes, probably could have had a chance to win that game. Baylor, we mentioned earlier as we were talking college football, are they getting better or are they going the other way? Misty, who do you have?
I am wearing green today, but it's not for Baylor. I've got to go with Texas.
Molly and I both picked Texas. Like I said, the only shot that Baylor really has is because Texas is a good team, is to catch Texas on a hangover from
Alabama.
Alabama.
Just easy.
I've got Texas as well, and again, it's one of those frustrating picks
Yeah.
because you still want to get it right.
Yeah.
You want Baylor to win.
Yes.
Like if I go 9-1 and my one is Baylor wins, I'm going to be okay.
Well,
Yes.
when Luke was doing his picks and he picked Texas, but he had a very hard time doing that. He said, "But I'm still cheering for Baylor, but I have to pick Texas." I get it.
That
I
just
get
means
it.
he's raised right.
Yeah, right.
He likes good music, like you could hear with JB Cloud a little bit later on, 80s, 90s country. He understands good music. Again, Texas Two-Step with Greg Austin at 2 o'clock. All right, so now we're rolling into the NFL games. The one that we have the 0-2s, Minnesota, Kirk Cousins taking on Justin Herbert. They do get it at home. Who do you have, Minnesota or the Chargers?
I've got the Chargers. Molly picked the Vikings. I felt like this game was very interesting just because they were both 0-2, and that's not what anybody would have thought looking, if you started back in the first of the season, these teams matched up, you'd think, oh, those are pretty good teams, but they hadn't won a game yet. Somebody's going to go 0-3, which will be very disappointing for their fan base.
So who'd you go
I
with?
got the Chargers.
Molly?
Molly got the Vikings.
I really like the Vikings, but the Chargers are just a little bit more stacked, and so I've got to go with the Chargers on this one.
Chargers.
Vikings, Chargers.
Chargers.
I'm going to the Vikings simply again because they're at home.
Yeah, I don't understand Vegas. Give me more than a point.
Oh,
I hate when it's a point
Yeah.
spread.
No,
I mean, don't get me wrong. You can tie
This
in the
one
NFL.
truly is go flip a coin.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm with Weldon. I'm going the Vikings. I'm not gonna lie. I became a bigger Kirk Cousins fan simply because of the quarterback series.
Yeah.
And I just don't think Brandon Staley's got it in him to be a head coach. Can he be and he's going to be calling the defense? And I heard or in the week, well, if they fired him, there's nobody on staff. Give the job to Kellen Moore. I'm going with the Vikings simply because they're home and Kirk Cousins. 2 other undefeated teams, the Baker Mayfield, who's not been on a commercial in years, it seems like. He left his stadium, literally, and went to the Buccaneers, no longer at Cleveland. Bucks, Eagles, who do you give Molly at?
Eagles. Both.
No chance for the Bucks. It's the Eagles.
It's the
I want to change my pick so bad. This is very similar to the Texas-Baylor game. I've got the Eagles simply because they are the Eagles, and they're really pretty good. But I've got the
Well, I
Eagles.
would love it for the Eagles to lose. It'd
Yeah,
make
we
my
would love
weekend.
it.
Again,
Yeah.
so again, if I go 8-2 because Baylor wins and the Bucks win, I will be completely fine with that.
nobody likes picking the Eagles.
No.
We want to win.
Except John from DRI. We love you, John. All right, finally, the Cowboys and the Cardinals. I'm assuming everybody's going to Cowboys. But I wanna-
the Cardinals are a dumpster fire.
But I want to ask this question here. What do you think, what kind of hiccup and what do you think we'll see differently? The Cardinals have competed in every game they've been in. They just haven't won. What do you think we'll see without, even though you love the D, one of the Ds that's not going to be there is Diggs. What do you think we'll see Sunday?
Well, I think that obviously is going to change some aspects of how the team plays. But the front seven getting after the quarterback is not changing because of that. And really, there have good coverage helps with the pressure on the quarterback because they can't get rid of the ball, obviously. But I feel like at least this week, the Cardinals don't have the manpower to slow down that front seven enough for it to affect us
All
greatly.
right, so I'm going to ask this for all 4 of us. What do you want to see? What do you think you want to see from Sunday going into the Patriots coming to town?
Just continue the same thing. I mean, keep it rolling.
Yeah, just total domination. I'm going to predict that, unfortunately, Dak throws his first interception this game. So that's what my hot take is going to be, that the first one is going to come because he's gotten close, and I think it's going to happen this week.
It's always time for the float up, and honestly, I see another blowout this week.
That's what I want to see, Weldon.
It
I
should
want to
be.
see a blowout. I want to see Cooper Rush playing in the middle of the third quarter. That's what I want to see. Dallas Cowboys, tune in Sunday. Aggies tomorrow. Anson Tigers tonight. Don't forget, Jones will be back with you Monday. Greg Austin this afternoon. JB Cloud coming up next. Go Cowboys. Have a great weekend. See you next week.
I got to run. I've got a contract at the house.
Good to see you.
Here you go.
Hey, appreciate it.
Thank
Real
you
quick,
so much.
are you good at MC that Marty Stewart thing?
I guess, I mean, they're supposed to be getting me some information.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I was told.